Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Sports professor Rick Horrow keeping score. International golf, international business. 60 million of us are said to play golf around the globe. It doesn't take into account the fact that I single-handedly probably 200, 250 rounds, and guys around me play even more. 2.5 million golfers join every year, so people are doing something right. $2.5 billion of economics from the equipment manufacturers and the equipment business in the United States alone. Other numbers pretty significant, $170 billion directly from the golf industry and the American economy, 15,000 golf courses. You heard enough numbers. Here's one that's really important. The golf business itself, about $4 to $5 billion of charitable contributions every single year, which is really critical. And there were rumbling here. This is Augusta Country Club. It's contiguous to the Masters, and it's contiguous to Augusta itself. The bottom line is washout on Wednesday, significant Thursday through Saturday. We take the time with our Facebook globally to talk about the business, the experience economy, why it's so important that special events play a key role in the core of the business of sports and the business of golf. We've got Roddy Carr, who basically invented golf tourism in Ireland a little while. We've got Barry White, who is the staff head of the Augusta Convention and Visitors Bureau. First, Perkins Miller. He's the chief North American operator, chief of the North American operations, head of North American operations of StubHub, and he's responsible for the development of the StubHub message of the experience economy after a stint at WWE and a bigger stint at the NFL. Kind of started the digital operation, so we should start here. How's that for an intro?
Overly generous as usual. Thank you, Rick.
But appropriate and well-earned.
Yeah.
Perkins, thank you all for putting this together and hosting this major event, but also making the statement about how important it is to maximize the experience economy for those people who want to be involved in major events and, of course, the backbone of the golf business, themed around major events, too.
I think that's a great point, that people today are so interested in getting really true, unique experiences. I mean, the Masters here is one of them that is I think, at the top of many people's list. We, as a business, really focus on this bucket list, and I think it's unique for everyone. So while we're here at the Masters and we spend a tremendous amount of time getting ready to orchestrate and organize and provide a service to fans, I think that's almost like none other.
iHeartRadio, an app so powerful it holds 20 million songs from 450,000 artists, thousands of the best live radio stations, custom stations, and stations created just for you. It's anywhere and it's everywhere. Millions of songs, thousands of stations, one free app. iHeartRadio is that easy. Download the app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is a health warning from Dr. Approved Medical, America's trusted resource for back braces. If you're 65 or older and suffering from back pain, you may qualify to receive an advanced pain-relieving back brace at little or no cost to you. Many people are now using our pain-relieving back brace as an alternative to surgery or harmful medications and experience pain relief that they haven't felt in years. Don't let your back pain turn into something worse. Remember, if you qualify for no money out of pocket, there's nothing to lose and only real pain relief to gain. Our friendly team of experts will handle all paperwork and will deliver it for free. Just call 800-507-1148. Your pain-relieving back brace may be covered by Medicare at little or no cost to you. Call our hotline now and get free shipping, plus a complimentary easy-to-use pedometer. 800-507-1148. 800-507-1148. 800-507-1148. Little to no cost with full insurance payment, copay, and deductible supply promo subject to qualification while supplies last.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780.
Calling all motorheads. It's time to rise up and pay homage to the Freak Nation. Or just flip your fat radio on to Speed Freaks every Sunday night at 7 Pacific on the Sports Byline USA Network. Join me, Kenny Sargent, with Statman and Crash Gladys for a freak of a good time as we drop in on the biggest names in motorsports, from IndyCar to NASCAR, the drags to Supercross, and a big-time rock and roll band from time to time. That's Speed Freaks, Sunday night to 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern on the Sports Byline USA Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We return to Rick's live broadcast he did on site at Augusta at the Masters. A tradition like any other. Here's Rick.
We also have thousands of events that go on this month as well to drive people to unique experiences for their own bucket list.
Well, one of the things that you can continue to focus on as a leader in technology and experience is the intersection. So I know you come from a technological background, and you're always worried about making sure it's not just the fan that looks at a ticket, but you push a button. Here's my explanation, ladies and gentlemen. So Major League Baseball opens, you got 30 teams, you got 29 to the 30, you got the Yankees, you got the Cubs, iconically. So you push the button and people can see exactly what their seats are, which has never before been done.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, this device here has become so common and ubiquitous in everybody's lives.
It's a phone, by the way.
In case you didn't know,
yes,
if you're not living in a rock somewhere in northern Wisconsin, the fact that we've really orchestrated our business and focused our everywhere they need to go to get into events has been really critical to the growth, especially with baseball starting this week. We've seen a tremendous lift from having virtual seats, from having the ability to kind of log in and look at where you're going to go. Now, someplace like here, the Masters, is iconic for another reason. I mean, there are passes, there are rules, there are dress codes, and that is a different experience altogether. I don't even think the Masters would ever benefit necessarily from having phone access, simply because there's something to be said for tradition, and we also want to honor that as we're here at the Masters.
But of course, and you always do the right thing relative to the Masters because it is hallowed ground, but the bottom line of all of this is that you adapt based on what the event gives and to enjoy the experience at the threshold, which is a very important thing that I think everybody would agree on.
And I think that point of threshold, that's really about how people kind of get into the event. And that has a lot to do with security and credibility. And one thing that StubHub invests millions of dollars a year on is making sure that our tickets get you into the event. We have a Make It Right program, so if there's any issue, you can call. We have literally hundreds of customer service agents that are there to service. We, in fact, right now have more than 24 people on site at the Masters to make sure you get in and have a great experience. So that moment where you want to be able to get somewhere, and the thing about StubHub, of course, is that it's always on. So it's a marketplace that you can always get a ticket, you can always get an event. And with that promise of being always on and always available, you have to be able to deliver. And so that point of that threshold is really central to how we operate.
You talk to, when Barry talks to us about the economic impact of an event, it obviously centers around happy fans, happy corporations, happy business people. Roddy Carr will tell us about the international development of sports and tourism and special events. But it's all themed around the future being making the fan happy, corporately, sponsorship-wise, it all depends on maximizing the fan's experience. That's the center of your universe as well.
It is, and I think one of the things that probably Roddy and everyone here knows is that the more you get in the way of the experience, the less valuable it becomes. And so, the key here is to making sure you reduce friction at every point. Now, you can introduce a sponsor, you can introduce a ticket at a cost, but you have to make sure that ticket is exactly what somebody wanted, or that sponsor assigns some value proposition to a fan so that they recognize the value associated with it. And I think we take that promise of value really, really seriously.
You also kind of are leading the world into an entirely new perception of how special events can be bucket list experiences. You said that a number of times. I know there's a company, Trendera. I've seen a lot of the work that you've put together that says 75% of those surveyed say that they would prefer to give a gift that is a bucket list once-in-a-lifetime experience as opposed to a tie and a hat or a ball or something.
Sure.
And clearly, you're the ones that have to define the experience and make it easy and make it seamless and make it fun.
Well, and I think the fact to bring up this device again has become an anchor tool for sharing experiences. And I think that's one of the reasons why experiences become more and more valuable. So for millennials particularly, the ability to show connection on social platforms, on Snapchat, on Instagram, provides a lot of connective tissue for their community. Yeah. And I think we really play a central role there, and we want to make sure we continue to amplify that conversation to make sure that as you go to a Masters, or you're going to go to an AC/DC concert, or you go to the Super Bowl, the ability to share that experience, have a great experience, is becoming more and more valuable, I think, over time.
You know what's cool about you, in addition to having the guts to wearing an outrageous Patriots uniform, but he did it at the Super Bowl, and he got rewarded, and so I guess you can't be upset about that. That was cool. The other thing is that you really have cornered the market on being involved in an organization that might not have been mainstream early, but is mainstream later. WWE is a pretty good example.
Sure.
Ticket scalper, it's a reseller. Well, now it is generally accepted as a cornerstone of the fan experience. So similarities.
Sure, and I think you look at what Vince McMahon has done with the WWE, creating a brand and an icon around something that no one ever expected. No one expected the WWE to be more than $1 billion company in 70 countries. But that was anticipating a little bit where, to use a metaphor, where the duck is headed. And I think here, in this case, it's the same idea. As this mobile device, as people's expectation to be able to get anywhere and do anything, anytime, which really is about a modern technology and sharing economy. Oh, you want a place to stay tonight? Go to Airbnb. Oh, you need a ride down the street? Well, grab Lyft. You want a ticket to an event? Go to StubHub. And I think the notion that StubHub becomes part of the vernacular, part of your sort of natural course of behavior to go to events, I think we've definitely benefited from the Lyft and mobile and that kind of overall expectation in the economy.
But it also takes the guts to put together a technological platform that you know is going to sustain. And if there are errors, you can quickly correct them. I was in Dubai in November, and you go to the camel race or you go to the rugby sevens, and I want a ticket, and you're on StubHub, and the global economy clearly knows no borders now, and that's good technology.
That's right, and to make sure we stay, again, ahead of the game a bit, we bought a company called TicketBiz about a year ago, and that gives us the ability to have a footprint in 48 countries around the world. Now, that comes with a lot of responsibility, to your point. It means we have to invest in technology. We have to anticipate, when Cyrillic appears in your app, is that in the right format? Is that to the right margin? How do you make sure that your transactions occur seamlessly in economies where credit cards aren't as used broadly as they are here? So there's a lot of things that go into the technology. Fortunately, it is a mobile-first world, literally globally, and so we spend a lot of our investment time really in the area of mobile to make sure it all works.
As far as where the ceiling is, and it's got to be pretty high or you wouldn't be involved in this too, is it easy to convey the message to teams and leagues that you're basically good for them and you're not fighting them?
Well, I think we come at it from we're good for fans. Yeah. And I think that you look at the scores we have. We use an NPS survey, which is essentially a way to look at how popular you are relative to would you recommend me to a friend or would you recommend StubHub to a friend. And our scores are exceptionally high because, frankly, it's easy and people like to use it. And so when we sit down with leagues and we sit down with clubs, they may have come from a background of years in working in ticketing. And it is difficult to understand, well, what is the sharing economy? How does mobile ticketing work? And we spend spend a lot of time just starting from the fan first. So how many of you in this room are using your mobile device to order a car or have used it to book an airplane flight? Everybody has done it. How many people are using Amazon or eBay today? So it's very common to be able to make the connection between, well, how do you behave as a fan to where they need to go as a primary ticketing provider or a league. And I think we just help to make that connection more clear.
And as a practical matter, Masters is a little bit different, but for teams and leagues, you're in a position where you basically can make use of unused inventory or inventory that needs to be returned and then sold again. So if people are going to be going to the game, they're going to be buying food and doing other things that's going to maximize revenue.
That's right. I think the key here is that you can't predict what anybody wants to do all the time. And, there are going to be situations where, look, you and I were going to meet and suddenly you had a business trip that came up and you couldn't be here. So I have an extra ticket. Well, if I can't give it away to a friend at the last minute, maybe I'll just put it on StubHub. Someone will get to go. That and the ability then more broadly to say to a team or a league to say, well, if you think this is happening, which it is, don't you want visibility into that? In a lot of cases, we're seating as much as a third of the venue with people who've come through StubHub. And so we're able, and we're coming to the teams and leagues now saying, don't you want visibility into 30% of your customers? Yeah. And I think that's a pretty good message because, a lot of those times those customers are younger because they're using mobile devices. They perform at the last minutes. We're saying, we're willing to work with you, and we want to because it's good for our business, of course. But it's also good to make sure that everybody gets understanding of how the technology works and how the audiences behave.
Where are you in 5 years?
Yeah, I think we'll be with StubHub in 5 years. We expect that there will be a connection on mobile devices worldwide.
Hey there, did you know that with a bachelor's degree, on average, you could make almost twice as much over a lifetime than a person with just a high school diploma? It's true. According to the 2012 U.S. Census Bureau, college grads with a bachelor's degree make almost twice as much as high school grads. Now, going back to school is easier than ever at Independence University. Log on and complete coursework from the park, or the beach, or even your couch watching the kids. And Independence University gives you the tools, a free tablet and laptop for undergrad students to use and keep when they graduate. That's right. Get a laptop so you can go to college from anywhere. Take the first step to a new career in business, information technology, healthcare, or graphic arts. Call to find the online degree program that's right for you, and you could be on your way to increasing your earning potential.
800-797-1256. 800-797-1256. That's 800-797-1256.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now, 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
This family is at home, but they won't be answering the door. They know that the pounding on the door is a process server from the court waiting to hand them foreclosure documents. So instead of enjoying the home they worked so hard to afford, they sit hiding in the dark.
Mom, what was that?
But it doesn't have to be this way. This family can save their home, but they must act fast. Call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions at 800-274-7312. If you're being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, missed a payment on your mortgage, been a victim of a predatory loan, or are upside down on your home, it's critical that you call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions now. 800-274-7312. Allied State Foreclosure Solutions has an attorney in your area that will meet and speak with you. You can stop the foreclosure process, lower your monthly mortgage payments, save your home and your credit, but you must act now. Call 800-274-7312. 800-274-7312. Not available in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We return to Rick's live broadcast he did on site at Augusta the Masters. A tradition like any other. Here's Rick.
That allow you to go from country to country, cross borders, and get into every major experience you want seamlessly. And we expect to be the company that has that single point of contact with millions and millions of customers more than we have today to make it easy to go to every event.
What a transition, because when you think of seamless and international, you think of Roddy Carr. Roddy Carr is, one of the oldest seamless international people I know. But he's also, obviously, a world-class guy. I'll tell the story in a minute, but thank you, Perkins.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that.
Okay, of course.
Awesome. Next victim, in and out. The beauty about...
well, that was close.
Yeah. The beauty about Facebook Live is, Perkins Miller's the kind of person who when you're at a hotel and you leave and you take the shampoo, he was about to steal the microphone from me. I
got towels in my room.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. So, Roddy, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
We haven't done this in a long time.
No.
And I'm honored by this. First of all, I've used this joke over and over again. Roddy was born in Brooklyn, but he developed this Irish brogue to impress people. There is nobody in Ireland that Roddy Carr does not know. Okay. And most important, in 1962, Roddy, he's written some dynamic pieces, but Roddy was touched by Bobby Jones when he received when Roddy's father received the Bobby Jones Award for promoting goodwill, sportsmanship, and the like. Roddy's dad was the first Irishman to play in the Masters and was in 68 and 69, which was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is Roddy's 50th anniversary, and we all have parents we love or remember. And at the age of 45, his father had won 41 championships already. So Roddy clearly is the guy who is really important for Irish tourism, has a tremendous perspective on all of this, but also involved with Lagardère Sports and now with Nicholas Design. So how's that for an intro?
That's pretty good. From an international point of view, tourism, which became sports active lifestyle tourism. So there's a kind of segment internationally where people have realized the value of experiential tourism, we call it, where they actually want to experience something. They go into Ireland, weather will be like this probably in Ireland, but they have a good time. Why? Because they like the people. And we call it the crack factor, which means the fun factor. And that's where Ireland kind of wins. So this is, how do you generate experiences through sports and sports tourism that give people a contact with the locals and have a good time? And we experienced that, Rick, when I took you around the country and we had a few glasses of milk.
A few glasses of milk and a little bit of golf. I'll tell you, that is interesting. And it is an important business. And when we talked to Barry White about how it impacts conventions and tourism, we were talking about developing a mega convention for the sports industry in Ireland, and everybody does that these days as an opportunity to be creative, but a lot of times they do it around golf. So how important is golf as a major tourism attractor and convention developer?
I think the importance of golf is that from a tourism point of view, I suppose if you look at the segment in golf tourism that started, Spain were the first people, and I was lucky enough to manage and work with Seve Ballesteros for 10 years. And Spain were a lot smarter than people gave them credit for. There was a Tour España logo, the Miro, the lovely artistic logo for Spain, and they worked out back in 1986 that they better get into the high-end tourism, and into sailing, golf, etc. And they put together a sports tourism strategy, which I was involved in, that basically said, we want to become the Florida of Europe. And they went sun, Spain, golf. And that equaled, in those days, television, more television. So we put together a 5 to 8 year strategy where we promoted 35 PGA Tour events. We created them, called the Tour de España series. And the goal was to get the Ryder Cup to Spain. And that happened in 1997, where Seve was the captain. I was managing him at the time. So that was mission accomplished. Ireland took the same view. Ireland has the USP of all the best, probably 30% of the links golf courses, which is a natural sand dunes game. They kind of saw what we were doing in Spain, and they put together a strategy to develop golf tourism. They promoted maybe 8 to 10 events, spent 50 million, and we got the Ryder Cup to Ireland. And that was a positioning spend to get Ireland to the same level as Scotland in terms of perception in the market, because the British Open goes to Scotland once every 2 or 3 years. So Ireland invested about 55 million into that. The return on that has been astronomical for Ireland. They're now at about 240 million a year pure income from golf tourism, which happens in the shoulder seasons. So there's 2 boxes ticked there, number one. And number two, the spend on that is now being quantified about 380 million. So there's a massive input into the Irish economy, which is a small economy by the scales of the States. But that's the importance of it. And what we found, the golf kind of started it, and then they're moving into other sports. I've just done a sports tourism strategy for Barbados, and we're bringing in a lot of the new experiential type sports. The people want to go walking, hiking, surfing. They want to do stuff when they go places, and they want to mingle. So a lot of the new strategies, we used to do them 10 years ago, and we do them now, and we've kind of rejigged the whole thing to much more experiential, families, doing stuff and experiencing. So even in the Caribbean, where we've done a lot of work, people still want to do stuff, and they actually then want to go to the beach after they do things. So this all is tied into bringing in, the cycling events, the surfing events, the sporting events, the golf events, the sailing events. Bermuda was a great example. Tiny little island, 60,000 people, 2 hours from New York, and we did it. We put together a strategy for them that says start with golf. It was high end, so it's golf, sailing, food. They're basically the USPs, and pink sand. So we brought in the Grand Slam of golf for them, which was a fit, small event but high prestige, showcased the island. Brought in a triathlon, which means we could show the sea, the heritage, and the beauty of the island. And they ended up bidding for one of the biggest events in the world called the America's Cup, which is going to happen this year in Bermuda. For a tiny little village to bid, and pay 70 to 100 million, they understand the positioning. They've got 2,000 insurance companies there. So the positioning of Bermuda as a serious place to do business capable of holding a global event is significant for their economy from a business positioning point of view.
When you take that, the thing that I take away from that more than anything else, and it's also a Perkins-Miller and it's a very white issue as well, is that golf is an interesting piece to almost galvanize the effort. It's a magnet for the trade show to begin. But in order to sell yourself, you got to be diverse. You've got to use special events to help attract other things beyond just golf. And in many ways, sports is an anchor to bring in other kind of business, conventions and the like.
Yeah, I mean, I think without a question, you just have to look at the demographics you're attacking. So you can actually match what's happening and I think it was Perkins was saying that there's a lot of these new trends are communities, and they're online in their own communities, and it's very easy to access them. You couldn't get them before. Let's say there's 56, 60 million golfers, there's 25 in the States, there's 5 million in Europe, and 14 in Japan, whatever it is. Basically they're attackable. In Europe you have to segment it down into the federations. They all have control of the databases for each golfing, so you can get at them that way. But cycling is the same. All these adventure races, soft, hard adventure, they're all tuned into their own stuff. So you can actually penetrate them. And with that, you get into the health, and you get into the wellness, you get into the spa, and then you can start to create things that will attract them to match up. I always look for the assets of a destination. Take Augusta, you got your heritage, you got golf, you got the south, you got the food. So you'll be looking at
tradition.
And tradition, mostly the tradition. Yeah. And then you start putting that together and what attracts people here. So those are the kind of the ways we'd approach it.
Well, and frankly, there is a template, I guess is what you're also trying to say. It's a business show, and this is more of a business conversation, and you set the case out, and you go after it. But this is also not just pie in the sky, we like the idea of playing golf and it's fun. This is a pure
hardcore
business
ROI.
Developing exercise where, whether it's Super Bowl competition in the United States or World Cup competition abroad, it's how do we attract the widget as against somebody else who might be worthy, but it's an arms race, isn't it?
One of the most profitable tourism sector, certainly in Ireland and in Europe, is business. Second would be golf. Golfer spends depending on the venue, it spends about 4 to 8 times what the average person spends. And from the Augusta, from the Convention Bureau, they're the biggest spenders. Yeah. And they come at the time you want them to come, off season. So that's kind of key factor.
So where is the business of sports tourism broadly defined in the next 5 years?
I think it will become into the communities. There'll be more focus on those digital communities because the demographics are very clear. The investment, you won't need half as much investment to get at them. And if you invest in the selected communities that you're after that match your business, you can be very effective. So I think it'll move, like our last guest, it'll move into that sphere of on your phone and being able to communicate with people in a very simple way. And I see that, we've seen a radical change in the sports tourism strategies in the last 5 years, moving towards these smaller experiential communities.
Roddy Carr, thank you for your wisdom. I never thought that I would hear the day where you actually would talk tech and do it well and actually do it in a sophisticated way.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
I appreciate it, my friend.
Okay.
Last but not least, so you're not going anywhere other than go have a drink, and we'll take this outside in a few minutes after we're finished our Facebook. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Barry White. So first of all, are you tired of the Barry White singer jokes?
I get that quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. And then they hear me speak, and they know it's not me.
And by the way, this one is alive. Okay, just so we know. So the head of the Augusta Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yeah.
If you or someone you love suffers from drug addiction, now is the time to utilize your private health insurance PPO plan. If eligible, receive up to $30,000 or more in substance abuse benefits with low or no out-of-pocket cost. We are the National Treatment Network, the premier drug and alcohol treatment referral service operating 24/7. We help connect you with facilities nationwide that accepts PPO private health insurance for substance abuse. If you have PPO substance abuse coverage and you need immediate admittance to a medical detox or residential rehab treatment center, call us now. Call our live referral helpline today. The call is free. This program is not available to Medicare or Medicaid customers.
Call 800-296-0906. 800-296-0906. 800-296-0906. That's 800-296-0906.
Allergies. Pollen in the air. Dogs in the house. Mold in the basement. Whatever triggers your allergy symptoms, it can really hold you back. Break through with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief. Allegra works fast, won't make you drowsy, provides 24-hour multi-symptom relief, and it's effective every day. Break through allergies with Allegra. Starts working in 1 hour. Use only as directed. Guaranteed or your money back. Visit Allegra.com.
Nobody really needs or wants home security until it's too late. You've heard the statistics about how many burglaries there are per day. You see the news. You know there are people out there that do bad things. The best way to help protect your home and your property is with an ADT monitored system from Protect Your Home, an ADT authorized premier provider. Call right now to get a free wireless home security system valued at $850. An ADT monitored system can help protect your home from fires, theft, floods, and call for emergency help. Call now to find out more about our $850 free wireless home security system and start enjoying the peace of mind of security today. Call 800-587-4281, 800-587-4281, 800-587-4281. This offer is for new customers only. Termination fees apply. $99 customer installation charge and 36-month monitoring agreement required. All for details. License terms and conditions available at secureathome.com.
iHeartRadio, an app so powerful it holds 20 million songs from 450,000 artists. Thousands of the best live radio stations, custom stations, and stations created just for you. It's anywhere and it's everywhere. Millions of songs, thousands of stations, one free app. iHeartRadio is that easy. Download the app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We return to Rick's live broadcast he did on site at Augusta at the Masters. A tradition like any other. Here's Rick.
Major is important, but a major that stays put is also very important.
Type of event. You got the Kentucky Derby, you got Wimbledon.
Interesting.
And they're all Indy 500, but this is just one of those very, very unique assets that we are privileged to host every year.
So, you've been on this job for 25 years?
I have.
So you started at age 7?
It's age 7, exactly.
Wow. It's amazing. I just, what have you, it's a silly question, what have you learned in 25 years? But I mean, the bottom line is, it's, the business has become more sophisticated. How's your job basically changed in the last 25 years?
To what Roddy said a little bit, it's all about ROI. I mean, it used to be you could just throw an ad campaign out there or something out, and if it's stuck, it might have worked. You don't know. You just the old saying, 50% of advertising works. It'd be nice to know which 50%.
That's fine.
So now you don't really have that luxury, and everything that we do, we don't even start until we have what our target is and what our goals and objectives are on that, and what the return's going to be. Fortunately, the digital aspect of what we do, and it provides us a lot greater opportunity to measure the effects of positive communication and outreach.
ROI is important. You mentioned that as a business show again, but a lot of your successes can be told anecdotally, and I guess it's interesting because whenever you're on the stump talking about how important an event is or spending public money for something, you can always explain it, but it's kind of hard to quantify sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, and so from a tangible perspective, is it you're going to go after these X number of conventions on a yearly basis, and your success rate might have been 3%, but it's 9% now because you can sell the Masters? Where's the benchmark? Where's the delta?
Yeah, it's we're always just reaching a little bit farther every year, but there's no doubt that, again, the name recognition, it can get our foot in. We get our foot in the door pretty much anywhere that we go, and that's something that a lot of communities and cities larger than us, 3, 4, 5 times larger than us, don't enjoy. So we have a kind of a unique advantage from that aspect, but it's always just trying to push it a little bit farther, and we've been successful. The big challenge with us, and I'll go back to your question on the 25 years, what I've seen change. When I first came here, people in Augusta said, "Oh yeah, we've got tourism, 1 week a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This is it, the tournament." And trying to convince them that it is year-round and that and have a positive impact has been a long, hard road.
Sure. The good thing about Facebook Live is we can just talk. So Mayor Hardy Davis is here. Is he campaigning? Is there an election soon?
He's got about 12 months.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Bring him on in. We'll to the
He's
audience.
Starting to think about it.
Well, listen, but you got to tell him too. We'll tell him. Most of the audience is in Japan and in Europe.
Yes.
It's not his constituents. That's okay.
That's right.
We'll deal with it. The whole notion of how you maximize your cooperation with the Augusta National Committee has to be pretty significant. They're doing a lot more year-round now.
Right.
They're opening the course up a little more than they did before, even though it's pretty closely held. The dry pitch and putt, those kinds of things too. So, how's it improved, and what do you do differently with them than you used to?
Well, we've fortunately had a great relationship with everyone out there, and it's. What has been done just from a physical standpoint, and also the developments that have taken place on the course, and really, their customer service, client services is really amazing out there. And I actually made a comment to the head of HR out there a couple of years ago. I said, "Wow," I got to tell you, when I walked on that course, every single person spoke to me and I said, "Did y'all start some new training?" She goes, "Yes, we did, and thank you for noticing." And they're just on top of it. It's amazing they can train that amount of people for 1 week a year that are on it every single day.
1 week a year, but $120 million of economic impact? $125 million of economic impact? What's the number?
There's a lot of mystery. Masters, and that number is one of those mysteries, actually.
But the mystery can't shroud the public employee who is going to be talking about it from a multiple perspective, right? And if if the mayor were here, he would hear that there's a great mystery about it. But we're going to give him the ability to answer the same question.
Sounds
so
good.
what's your best answer?
My best answer is the club has a pretty good idea about the impact.
But it's big.
But it's big, and what we see is what I know, and even if you did the surveys out on the course with the visitors here and asked them how they're spending money, what it does not encapsulate is really some of the indirect spending and the induced spending that's associated with it.
Right.
I can tell you, I personally renovated a house. Kids are gone, right? And I did 4-bedroom, 4-bath, so we can rent the house.
Right. That's perfect.
I don't need 4 bathrooms.
Well, so
people design their homes and their lives sometimes around that.
So that's one head of the CVB with an incremental delta of X amount that caused by the Augusta National Committee times whatever the number is equals whatever the number is.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not a bad number. And the bottom line is they're big.
Big.
And the next few years will be even bigger. So are you going to stay in this position for the next 25 years?
Wow, in front of the mayor? You're going to ask me that question?
I'm actually going to ask you that question. Right. Because, Mayor, I don't know if you knew this, but he's really valuable, okay? How's that? Is that okay? Does that work?
That's great.
Does that work?
That's great.
Yeah. So, Barry, really appreciate that. That was great. That was great. And we're going to, don't go anywhere. Unhooked. Don't go anywhere. I don't know if you have to leave, but we're going to do this again with another crowd, too.
You need to ask the mayor the same question, all right?
Your Honor? Step in our office.
So I just did this, Barry. That's happening.
Yeah. I just want you to know that Mayor Davis, thank you. Thank you very much.
Certainly.
So just you didn't see it, ladies and gentlemen, but behind the camera, the mayor was doing the shuffling half foot for Barry White, like answer the direct questions. So that's okay. By the way, how many times do you think in his career has he gotten are you the singer, are you the live guy, or are you the dead guy? I mean, how many times do you think? Hundreds.
Probably hundreds of times. And if it was the dance, anything like he did a moment ago,
he's pretty darn good, doesn't he? Isn't that really good? Hey, let's start with this, Mayor. We understand the importance of the tournament itself, but it also gives you the ability to increase the awareness in many ways that might not have otherwise happened. So we did a story yesterday that you helped us formulate about the cyber capital of the South and Augusta, and we wouldn't have even known that but for the Masters. So talk about that for a minute.
Well, one, thanks for having us, Rick.
Sure.
We're excited about what's going on with this week Masters Golf Tournament. But Augusta is quickly becoming the home of the cyber technology capital of the nation. I know you said the South. That's what we've been saying for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
But quite frankly,
country.
And when you look at what that means from a job creation and an economic development and growth standpoint, it certainly puts us on par with being a really, really significant city in the nation. The Masters Golf Tournament, a big deal for us, and its impact as well. But these are really good times for our city, just in terms of, one, what we're able to do. Historically, we've been known as a 3M city, medicine, manufacturing, and the military. We've now become a city of technology and innovation. So you couple that with the innovation in the game of golf, it makes it a big deal.
But it's also not of the faint of heart. I understand the number is upwards of $50 million, and it's the university, it's the state, and obviously your fair city in a joint venture partnership that is beyond just sports, but it's business.
It's business as well. You're absolutely correct. Most recently, the governor made an announcement in his State of the State address that Augusta would become the home for Georgia's Cyber Innovation and Training Center. It's a partnership between the state of Georgia, our local university, Augusta University, and the city of Augusta, and a number of other state partners. That investment, from a multiplier standpoint, will really be more than $50 million. You look at the city's investment to help make that happen, and then the private sector investment. I anticipate that investment largely will be somewhere on the order of $70 to maybe $80 million.
So you're there handed a public trust, meaning the legacy of Augusta National and how you can sell it on the road. And
Absolutely.
You already sound like a pretty darn good salesman as far as selling it on the road.
Yeah.
How has the fact that the tournament has been here every single year since 1934, basically, has it helped you sell your city?
Well, it's like other cities. My good friends, Kasim Reed, Buddy Dyer, and even Mike Rollins over in Dallas, and I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Every year, everybody talks about, well, we have to compete for a Super Bowl. We don't.
Yeah.
We have the universe stop and come to our city 1 year, every year, the same time every year. We don't have to compete for that. That's a wonderful selling card when you're talking to industry leaders. You're talking to people who want to move to an area that has, low taxes, great quality of living, the work that Barry and his folks do at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. It makes Augusta truly a place to live.
And the tournament happens every year, and you don't have to worry about Tony Romo retirement. Right? You get the tournament every year, right?
That's right. You get it every year. That's right.
You get it every year, the economic impact every year.
That's right.
Internationally, you travel, you understand the benefits of all of this as well. Yeah. Can you quantify in any meaningful way, anecdotally really important, but how do you quantify to your constituents what this is all about?
Well, it's about people coming to your city. I mean, when you look at the spotlight that's being shown on Augusta, Georgia during this week, you've got people from across the world who've said, this is our destination. We're going to come and camp out. You look at the economic impact, not just of the national in terms of hotels, lodging, sales of products and things, but you've got homes that are being rented. You've got people who are making significant, investments in their children's future because of what happens this 1 week. That's a really important selling card to know that the Augusta National, the Masters Golf Tournament, is the underpinning for that. And we're very proud. We're very excited to be Augustans. Yeah.
Are you going to continue to have Barry White work for the CVB for the next 25 years if he wants to?
Barry has a job and opportunity to make people's life happy, better, as long as he wants it.
Wow. There you go. You can tell. So when are you up for election again?
You heard about that.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. This is wonderful and a great week. You just got to be able to stop the rain. I'm not sure you're going to be able to do that.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, the rain is going to stop.
Yeah, it's going to stop.
Thank you, Your Honor. I really appreciate that.
Rick.
We're going to begin the other part of our deal in the next few minutes. So
fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
So how are we doing with time?
It's 5:15.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I've been told that we ought to end this and go into the other part of the festivities for the evening. But let me just summarize by just suggesting to you how important the sports business is. Again, you see Roddy Carr talking about international sports development as a business development opportunity. On the heels of that, Barry White and the mayor talk about how important it is from a global perspective, a tradition like none other, 1934 and beyond. It's not just the $150 or so million of economic impact, but it's also everything else that's going on. And you can really tell, pan out there for a second, just so you can see, crack executive producer talking about, you see the rain out there. That is the Augusta Country Club next to Augusta National. And it's raining today, but it's not raining on the spirits of these folks because this is an event for cyber tech of the country. We're talking about the economic impact. The companies that are involved here, IBM, as we said, and Mercedes and AT&T, they only get 4 minutes of commercials every hour, but they spend $8 to $10 million a year for the privilege. CBS does the same thing. $15 to $25 million of international television rights, and on and on and on. And as the mayor said, this is a Super Bowl, but it happens every single year. Really excited to be part of it. Let's see if the weather is really good. Doesn't really matter who wins from our perspective because it is a major victory off the course as well. I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. See you next time.
Are you an inventor who would like to try to have an invention or idea patented and submitted to companies? But you don't know what to do next? Call for free information from InventHelp. InventHelp, a leading inventor service company, has been helping inventors since 1984 and has sales offices located in more than 60 cities nationwide. You'll want to talk to the company that has helped secure more than 7,000 invention patents. So call InventHelp. Even if you have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you'll still want to call InventHelp for free information. You'll find out how InventHelp may assist you in trying to patent your invention and submit it to companies. So call now.
Call InventHelp at 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. Get your free information by dialing 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. 1-800-316-1738. Are you a business owner or an individual who owes the IRS? Then be prepared to write down an important phone number. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? Do you need to file back tax returns? Are you dealing with bank levies and wage garnishments? It's time to deal with your IRS problem today. Call Certified Tax Representation now. Certified Tax Representation, Inc. represents clients just like you in all 50 states. They will contact the IRS on your behalf the same day that you become a client, and you can become a client immediately. It's time for you to face your IRS problems. Think about how great you're going to feel when you're represented by a company who's an advocate for you, who knows the law, who also will contact the IRS the same day you become a client. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. Call now, 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064. Not all cases are typical, and some may not qualify. The consultation is free, and so is the call, so call right now. 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064.
When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just in debt. Debt is all around you.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
At the Debt Helpline, we're experts at helping you resolve your debt problems and become free of debt. We can help you pay off your debt and give you one lower monthly payment that you can afford.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 or more in credit card bills, call the Debt Helpline now for a free confidential debt analysis.
800-957-6063. 800-957-6063. Call the CESI Debt Helpline right now for a free confidential debt review. 800-957-6063. 800-957-6063.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Here's Rick.
Sports Professor Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard, the inside story of the trillion-dollar sports business, law, marketing, endorsements, deal-making perspectives for you, the fan. And football, we're certainly busy. Take a look at the biggest issue, obviously, is the one about the Oakland Raiders. Well, let's call them the Vegas Raiders. Let's call them something in the middle. Market stability, stadium built for the 2020 season. Roger Goodell says that there are issues afoot to keep team in the Bay Area, but the dollars certainly weren't there. A landslide 31-1 vote. Steve Ross, the only guy voting against it, winding up costing probably less than the $200 million, ending up at about $1.7 billion. Another $200 million public subsidy from Nevada and capital improvements. $750 million raised from a bed tax. That's what you get, by the way, when you have a tourist tax funded by tourism in an infrastructure area. And again, as we said last week, not only the facility for the Raiders, but also UNLV, Super Bowls, Final Fours, conventions, religious revivals. And the city goes from a radioactive town without any Major League sports to 2 NASCAR races, the Golden Knights this fall and the Raiders in a couple of years. So what do they do in the meantime? Well, obviously, they play in Oakland for a couple of years, and they get ready for that facility. Although, is it going to be a couple of years? Not really sure. According to everybody else, they may be taking a look at some of the other situations around San Antonio and maybe St. Louis and maybe Toronto and maybe London, maybe a whole host of other cities as well. The bottom line is, though, that there's at least a year in Oakland and certainly lame duck status, but the NFL much more stable and much more secure than it's been in a long time. Well, thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks to Tom Grilk. Thanks to all who made this show possible. Thanks to Tanner Simpkins for putting it together. Big week. NHL playoffs beginning again next week. Recap of the Masters. Many, many issues next week. Deal-making, law, marketing, etc. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Audio Boom. And thanks all of you. And once again, join us when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.